When you heard about what happened to him, were you surprised by the fact that he was joining a fraternity and all of this had happened to him? I mean, what part of that did you know about since he would come home and spend time with your family?
Sure. We had talked to Stone a little bit about joining the fraternity when he was a freshman. And he came home and, was talking about the possibility. And I wasn't part of Greek life, so I didn't have any experiences to share with him. But to me, it was kind of a surprise because Stone was his own man. And so the fact that he wanted to join and fall in line with a fraternity, it just didn't make sense to me. But, whatever he wanted to do, we would support him and talk through it. So then when ultimately he decided he was going to rush for Pike, um, I didn't know what to expect. And probably like a lot of parents or friends of people that are going to college, you've seen the movies about frat parties and things like that. But do you really understand what frat life is? And more specifically, what rush looks like, and even more specifically, what hazing looks like. And those were never things that were part of our thought process or our vocabulary. And so when he decided he was going to rush a fraternity, I was figuring, he's going to be polo shirts and, riding around in a convertible and having toga parties. Never did I imagine we would be, 2 years later, part of a anti-hazing foundation.
Yeah, just you talking through that kind of brings a lot of emotion, right? It's still very raw, and I think people think that after you lose somebody, that it's they look at the clock and the calendar and they say it's been a long time. So what's your problem?
Right.
But the fact that I think that we're living this every single day and trying to save lives by explaining that to others, I think the wounds are always going to be open.
But what we can do is we can help others. And we can't take care of Jake. We can't take care of Stone. Mm-hmm. But much like Sherry promised Stone, we can help others make sure this doesn't happen again. So that explains the passion that we all have for this foundation, for the cause, because we can't help Stone, but we can help to make sure that no other family has to live through what we've been living through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I couldn't have said it better. So before Stone and the tragedy there, did you know much about hazing? Did you realize it was still going on? And how would you define it to a Jersey at the age of 10 who didn't understand what was going on? I mean, how would you kind of describe that now?
I think hazing is a lot like a lot of crimes that you hear about. Until it happens to you or close to you, you watch the news and say, oh, that's really horrible. But it doesn't hit home until it hits home. And so did I have an understanding of hazing? Yes, I had an understanding of hazing, and my thoughts on hazing or when an organization or a person forces you to do something against your will as part of belonging or part of some kind of entrance into a club or an organization. In the bio, you talked about my experience as a softball coach. I coached high school girls, college age girls, and you look at hazing as part of sports. Well, we never had it in any of our teams, but certainly it's in the news and it's happening. And that's probably where we're most familiar with the conversation is from those sports. In some of the training to become a coach, they talk to you about duty to report. But if I were explaining it to somebody Jersey's age, it's, hey, if somebody's asking you, an adult or a peer, another student is asking you to do something that you don't think is right so that you can belong to part of some group or club, you're being hazed, even if it seems extremely minor.